a really calm dog, and she helps us relax at the end of the day, just like any dog would. But she also helps us because we know she's kind of keeping track of our son, and that she will come and get me if he's doing anything that he shouldn't be doing. She's really gotten to know us pretty well, which is really nice. She kind of follows him around a bit and keeps tabs on him. So she'll come and get me if he goes outside, which is really nice. So if he goes outside to go play and I don't know about it, next thing I know, Emma's going to be right there, kind of to tell me, hey, you should be paying attention, which is really nice. What else about you? You're very calm. You're very nice. She's good for my stress level too, because it's hard, when you have a child that has to work that much to overcome what's going on with them. It can be really stressful to have different people around the house, and she's definitely another member of the family that helps us all stay grounded and stay calm. And she gives us comic relief when people are working with him and things are starting to get tough. Sometimes she'll just appear out of nowhere. Other times she'll. I think people are on their best behavior when they're around a nice dog. So I think that kind of helps me. It's another set of eyes, when they're working with your kiddos. So I think that's another nice thing about Emma.
I've seen a huge change in Colton, and I wasn't totally sold on how much Lana would help us. I was hoping that she would, but without any quantifiable data, it was more of a wish than a concrete fact. But he has adopted her as a best buddy. He'll say, "Come on, Lana, let's go outside," or "Let's go dig in the sandbox." And I've caught the two of them playing in the mud together, just the happiest things you've ever seen. And I had to hose them both off. He loves snuggling with her, and he has just, as I said, adopted her as a good buddy.
Yeah, I have to admit, I was kind of skeptical because I wasn't sure how a dog would fit into our family, or what exactly a dog would do for us. I knew that I couldn't get a dog that didn't have any training, because my son does a lot of running around and sometimes has some behaviors that I couldn't really be sure, if I got a dog any other way that wasn't trained, how the dog would be reacting to our little boy. Would it excite the dog if my son was running around, or would it excite the dog if my son was yelling or something like that? So I think a real benefit of having a trained service dog is that they have manners, so that's not something that you have to chase around and make sure that the dog's behaving. So that's taken care of, which is really nice. But we also know that they're a safe dog, that they're not going to go after our kids or that kind of thing. But the benefits for Steven in particular, it's just that he found a friend in a dog that I never thought that he would have. He'd never paid attention to our other dog before, and I don't know what it is about Emma that he knew Emma was for him from day one, and that was really nice. That was something that that bond and that connection, that was a real surprise to us. So we were really pleasantly surprised to know that they had gotten that close and they had that bond.
Be selective in finding the right dog personality, but in terms of introducing Lana into our house, she has been such a blessing for us, and we're only 3 weeks into the process. I can't wait to see what it's going to look like 6 months and a year from now. I was completely panicked about adding any more stimulation, any more anxiety into our house. We have one child on the autism spectrum and two typically developing rather rambunctious young kids. And Lana has just been a calming influence for all of us. And she's been able to play the dual role of family dog, to play catch and snuggle with our other two kids, and also play the role of the service dog for Colton. And so she's blended perfectly into our family. And she is just a treasure for us. So I would say open your mind. Boot camp isn't as scary as it sounds, and the service dogs are just such a wonderful addition to the family. His overall anxiety level, it's hard to perform when one is overly wound up, and underlying anxiety has been a huge problem for us for years. So I see Colton being calmer. I've heard the speech therapist say it. I've heard his teacher at school say it. He seems more attentive to tasks. We refer to all good things as the Lana principle.
Well, at first he didn't know what to make of Emma, and then once he got more relaxed around her, he was able to make fun of her, and if she was doing something silly, he would laugh at her, which really helped a lot to help the two of them bond. He's calm enough where if he is in trouble in the middle of the night, if he has a bad dream, he wants to see Emma instead of Mom. So I think that's another one that's, it's kind of nice that he has a friend in the house, and he talks about her, what she's doing, if she does something silly or goofy, or if she's chasing a ball or catching a ball, that's something that he's talking about, which is really nice. We can always play games with Emma too, and read to Emma, and we can do homework in front of Emma, and she kind of takes the pressure off. When things kind of get tough and our kids don't want to work, it's really hard to find something that is a reinforcer that can really help you get through those times. So I think Emma's probably the biggest reinforcer that we've ever had. Cheer! We've been having a hard time with homework, and Emma's there. What I did is I stopped doing it over at the table, where we were kind of having a hard time with it. And I bought some clipboards, and I took it into his room. And it's like, Emma's laying here, and I'm with my clipboard, and he's at his desk, and we're going back and forth with it. And it's not so much a problem. It just kind of adds to the ease of it. It's not so like you're there working and it's really difficult, and
On. Do. Get.
Took a bath, and he's playing with his trains.
The bathtub.
The bathtub.
Want to show Lana the bathtub?
Sure. Mama, this is the bathtub. Can we be the bathroom?
Are you going to go read in the bathtub?
Come on, Doggy.
UVWXYZ.
I think that he's been writing about her a lot at school, which is really nice to see Emma come up in things in his journal. So he'll say, Emma did this, or Emma and I go swim, or Emma and I, went somewhere. And it's just nice to see that, he sees her as a person, whereas before he seemed so checked out that, I wasn't sure that a dog would even be able to get through to him or connect. Some days the fog can be pretty thick, and it's like anything that you can do to get through is worth doing. Anything that you can do to help them connect with and have a relationship with another person or dog, that's gold. You can't get any better than that.
Ever they felt sentenced to a long, boring day without the kids. They were frustrated and sad.
I think, whenever we have a play date here, play dates are still kind of tough for us. So if the kids come over and, he has this dog that's really well behaved and they can play with too, and Steven's comfortable around the dog, then they're able to kind of get together and play, or play fetch with the dog. That's something that they can do, or they can go swimming with the dog. It's something they can do. Or even if they're sitting down and reading books or watching a video or playing video games, the dog's right there. So, I think it just adds to the ease and friendliness of the house.
Kind of the normalcy and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it makes it so it's more normal around here. And they're more apt to think of our son as a kid that doesn't have limitations, rather, somebody who has a really cool dog. So, she doesn't wear her kerchief at home, which just kind of makes her blend in and just makes her look like a really well-trained dog, but it's our well-kept secret that she's much more. So when we take Emma out, I've taken her to something called clinic. So if your kid has a lot of therapies to go to and you have a clinic or any kind of testing, I've brought Emma along to evaluations before. And I think, she just adds to the ease of the situation. I think that the people who are evaluating our son do a lot better because they're at ease, because the dog is there. Stephen has a friend in the room, which is really nice. And I think that it's just, she's really well behaved and she's able to go in the car no problem. She's not something else that I have to keep tabs of. She's so well mannered that, she just kind of goes along. It's like taking another person along with you. You don't have to worry about her at all, which is really nice. And someone's not a dog person, chances are you don't want them working with your kiddo. And it's kind of like, because it has so much to do with like reinforcing, and if you're good with a dog and if you have those mannerisms and you know how to reward good behavior, then that's something that they need to know how to do with our kids. And
it's just a lot of the same techniques.
It
too.
really is. I mean, it sounds
between
like
substitution or positive reinforcement.
ABA. It's like all the same, like applied behavior. What did you do, and did you get rewarded for it, or did you not, or did something adverse happen to you afterwards? It's like it's the same thing with our kids. So in a way, it was easier for me to have Emma as a dog because you all had already done that with her.
Yeah.
And I knew that if she did something and I said, psst, nope, then that meant don't do it. Or, yes, good girl. Then that's something that's come so naturally to us that she was a really good fit with our family. People who do ABA for autism, these dogs, it's right up that alley. So it's easier.
And there have been a couple of days when Colton's spinning out of control and our other two kids are being their lovely rambunctious selves, and I just grab Lana and pet her because it calms me down. So she's my therapy dog and Colton's service dog.
Kind of a dual role, right?
A dual role.
I think even on the first night, she jumped into bed with him, and before we had our dog, and they never really bonded at all. But with Emma, it just seemed like from the very first day, she just had a place in his heart, and she would climb up onto his bed, and she just kind of knew that he was for her and she was for him. So she would follow him around all the time, and sometimes even in the morning, I'll send her in to wake him up. And it's just sort of like, it's like having your own friend, who will come in and help you, or come in and, she'll kind of root around in his bed or underneath his covers, which will get him laughing. So I kind of send her to do my dirty work sometimes. But Stephen has a real hard time sleeping, and it's just an autism thing. Some of our kids have a hard time sleeping. They'll get up for hours and hours at a time, in the middle of the night. And of course that always affects their school the next day. I'm always panicked, how are you going to function in school when you can't sleep at night? Because you see how insomnia after a couple days can really take a toll. They can't learn if they're not sleeping. And what I found, I actually took data that it took Emma about an hour to get him back to sleep. So if Emma would go into his bed and just kind of, lay on the foot of his bed, and he would say, okay, good night, Emma, and her calming presence would make him go back to sleep. So I didn't, it just is the way it works with these two.
Not as much as I had hoped, but we have such severe problems to work through. I'm not surprised. This may be something that as he calms his whole self down, he'll be able to sleep a little bit more through the night. What has helped, Alana's actually helping me sleep through the night because I no longer have to listen to the monitor. She will come and alert us. And so I wake up in the middle of the night thinking, okay, there's a dog in my room, Lana's in my room, oops, that means Colton's up wandering. So that way I don't have to sleep listening to the monitor. I can sleep solidly through the night, which is a dream come true. So I may get up with Colton, but he's up for 5 minutes as opposed to 2 to 4 hours. And when he's not up, I don't have to be listening.